Hello everyone. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Nitya.
Okay, then we can start the session, I think. Let others also join in between. So, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for the today's session. My name is Nitya Jose, and I'm working as an assistant manager, retail operational unit in ICT Academy of Kerala. So today we are organizing a webinar on trends and opportunities in software testing. Before starting the session, just a housekeeping. So if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box. I will bring them up during the presentation and we'll also have a time for Q&As at the end of the session. So you can post the queries towards the end of the sessions. And now without further delay, we will turn the time over to our speakers. So our industry speaker for today is Mr. Vibul Kocher, co-founder and CEO of Variety Software, president of Indian Testing Board, and the soul of world's first AI-focused software testing service company, which is called Test AING Solutions. He is an ex-Adobe engineer and IIT alumnus with 25 years of experience in software development and testing industry. So it's a great opportunity for all of us having Mr. Vibul Kocher as our industry speaker. Next, we have Mr. Riji Entas, who is heading the knowledge office in ICT Academy of Kerala. Riji has over 11 years of experience in academics and completed 7 successful years in ICT Academy of Kerala. Along with Riji, we have one more person from ICT Academy, Mr. Srikumar KV, who is heading the retail operational unit in ICT Academy of Kerala. Srikumar has more than 20 years of experience in education and IT industries. So on behalf of KKM and everyone presented here, I'm welcoming all our speakers to the session. Now, without much delay, I am handovering the session to Mr. Vibul. Over to you, Vibul. Hi, Vibul. Can you hear me?
Vibul,
Yes.
you are muted.
Namaskar all. Sorry, realized it a little late. Glad to be here. Thank you so much. I will share my screen, and without much ado, I will get started. So today we are going to be talking about software testing. What is there? What is software testing? And how is the job market there with respect to software testing? So let's take a look at that. No need. I still need to probably tell you a little bit about myself. And the reason for that is not because, I need to tell you about myself, but because I need you to look at some of the things that I've been able to do. And possibly because I'm a tester. So I run a product company called testaing.com, which is, we are building a product to test AI/ML models. So any software that has AI/ML in it, we basically have a product to test it. I'm also co-founder of a social media company called mysutra.life that we have launched recently in alpha, and it will soon be live. I'm also owner of Variety Software, which is conducting this, where I teach training to people in corporates or to students. And there is a testing forum called Step In Forum, which is Asia's biggest testers forum. It's a not-for-profit organization, and we do a lot of webinars, etc., on software testing, etc. And I also happen to be president of Indian Testing Board, where I represent India in an international board. So you can see the running theme through all my entrepreneurship, all my life, all my job has been testing. My companies, the kind of products, the kind of services, everything is like, testing related. So you can say that, I drink, eat, breathe testing. So why and how did really things happen and what is in it for you? That is basically the most important question. And guided missiles, a career without direction is like an unguided missile. It can actually fulfill its objective if it is guided. And unfortunately, many a times we do not have guidance in our career. There are plenty of engineers, both from computer science background and non-computer science background. In both the stream of engineers, we have people who love coding and who do not like coding so much. But we are trying to force everybody into becoming a developer, and that by itself is a problem. So look at this. Look at what is software without testing. Now, don't worry about the advertisement part of it. Yeah. So, I don't think you as a person would be happy sitting in a car which has not been tested, or an aeroplane which has not been tested, or giving your hard-earned money to banking software which has not been tested, and so on, right? So testing is an important part. I don't know how many of you are aware of testing as a career choice, but even if you're not, today that's what I really want to talk about. Most people that I interact with who are in the engineering college typically want to be a developer. Yeah. So perfectly fine. You can be a developer, but the biggest problem is how good is the quality of code that you write. You also need to test your own code as well, right? So you will be a tester when you are writing your own code and testing it. So that's an important aspect to understand. I would invoke Mahatma Gandhi here, who said that, I belong to all the four varnas. When I am defending my country, I am a Kshatriya. When I am, earning bread for my family, I am a Vaishya. And when I am, doing my rituals and puja and so on, then I am a Brahmin. And when I'm serving people, then I'm a Shudra. So all things, depending on what I am doing, I become that varna at that point of time. Now that's a very interesting concept, right? So if you are a developer, then also you are a tester when you are writing code and testing it. If you don't test your code, then there's a serious problem. Also, there are some people who are not very good at coding, or they could be better, but they are not very good. So what do? Well, the only option that you are left with is going into job which do not involve a lot of coding, and people are not aware what those kind of jobs are. And I would tell you that some of these jobs are related to software testing. Okay. So if you are a person who naturally enjoys breaking things, finding faults, many of us actually do that, right? The first thing you enter, let us say, one of the richest persons in the country, their house and their room, and beautiful room. They have spent millions of dollars on that one room, and the first thing that you notice is that the picture that has been hung there hasn't been hung properly. It is out of alignment, or there is minor flaw somewhere, and that is the first thing that you notice. If that is your case, you can not see good things, you can only see bad things. Testing is the job for you. That's how I actually came into testing. My manager told me that we are releasing our product, so somebody needs to test it. So why don't you do it for a few days? And I was a developer. I was writing device drivers. I was writing TCP/IP stacks for mobile devices way back in '95. And what happened then was that I found so many bugs in 2 or 3 days that the whole company shook. And they said, you are very good at it, so why don't you continue to do it? And I found that, that I really enjoyed that. So essentially, if you want to think in big picture way, if you want to be the voice of the customer, if you are interested in quality, if you are interested in breaking things, whatever, testing is the thing for you. And the interesting part is, if you don't like coding, there is something called as manual testing that you can do, where you don't need to do too much coding. And then there is, recently a lot of things have changed last 3, 4 years, 5 years. So you have what is called as Devops, which expects people to write a lot of code. to test, not to develop, but to test. A lot of tools need to be written. These tools need to be integrated together. And then, there are tools for automation. I'm sure you have heard of AI, and that, a lot of people are using a lot of different automation so that manual work is reduced, digitization. So it is, if you know coding, if you like coding, but you would also like to make a career in testing, that is also a possibility. So today you have no limitations at all, where you have to be a developer. In fact, a tester, in my opinion, is orders of magnitude better than a developer, because a tester is the voice of the customer. When the tester speaks something, the whole company listens. So I'll give you, testing career path in a very large company. So if you look at the job role, you start with test engineer, go to, staff test engineer in this particular company, right? And then you become a test architect. On one hand, you become a senior test engineer or a project manager or a test manager, and then you can keep growing. So if you go into the test manager line, you become, senior test manager, then, probably vice president of testing, and so on and so forth. If you get into the technical role, you become test architect, and then, senior test architect, and strategist. These are the kind of roles that you can get into. So there are a lot of different possibilities that exist. In a very big company, another one, look at the kind of career path that they have. You start with the test engineer, go on to become a test designer, then a test lead, and test manager, and so on. And what do you become if you go to the architecture side? So you can be a technical hands-on person also. So these are your roles about junior, senior, team lead, manager, senior manager, and then, of course, vice president, and so on. So there is plenty of opportunity in software testing, plenty of opportunities. You can also become a CTO. I'll give you an example. I used to work for a company called Adobe. I'm sure all of you use Adobe Acrobat Reader and Photoshop also, but Adobe Acrobat Reader is what I used to manage. So I left Adobe to start my own testing company way back in 2004. And then I grew that testing company to a size of some 300 people, and then sold that company. Now, when I was with Adobe and I was doing this test management, I had a colleague with me who was reporting into me. And after I left, he basically took some senior roles. And today, in a mid-sized, and by mid-sized, I mean at least 5,000 to 10,000 people, he is a CTO of that company. So it is not that, when you get into testing, you cannot get into the executive role. You can get there as well into the executive role. It depends on, what you want to do, how you want to do, and so on. Right? So now let us look at, what do testers actually do, but let us look at what do developers actually do, right? That will tell you why testers are needed. So essentially, the software was to be designed like, a cat, right? And it was all right. We were going to design a cat, and we said that we are going to spend 80% of our time on the tail of the cat, 14% somewhere else, and the main features we are going to spend very little. And consequently, what happens is that, you've got a nice tail, but no hind legs, and so on. So, but when you actually test it and you fix bugs and so on, everything goes haywire. The user expected a tiger, actually, not even a cat. But who is going to check whether you have a cat, even a cat, a full cat, or do you have a partial cat? So ultimately, after patching up everything, after looking at, late feedback, after looking at feedback from the customers, what you see as, a mixture of multiple animals, that is how you deliver the software. And if you ask the developer, they'll say, yeah, I wrote really good software. They're very useful to the users. But I am 100% sure that all of you have experienced applications which were not user-friendly, which did not work as advertised, which had a lot of bugs, a lot of problems, and so on and so forth. If somebody had a tester here, if not a tiger, at least you would have delivered a full cat. So this is basically the need for tester. Otherwise, you are not delivering what you promise your customers to deliver. So let us take a look at what is meant by testing, so that I can tell you today what kind of testing gets done and so on. So if you look at testing, simply speaking, as an end user, you take a software, you start using it, and then you find bugs in it, you find problems in it. You may find that it is very slow, you may find security problems, you may find that when you start using it, it's not very user friendly, you have to tap or click a number of places, you have to remember a lot of things, not at all intuitive, the user experience is bad, and then the features, they don't work. What it was supposed to do, it doesn't work. That basically is testing, right? But then there are different ways in which testing can be done. For example, when you're a developer, the kind of testing that you do is unit testing, integration testing. So these are two types of testing that you do when you're a developer. And then when you're a career tester, you basically take all the code that has been written by the people, combine it, there's a complete software available. For example, in case of mobile applications, there's a fully installable mobile application now available, not just code, but fully installable mobile application, and test it. That is system testing. And finally, when you deliver something to the end customer says, I'll use it in my own environment. I will do what I want to do. And if this works okay, then I will accept it. Otherwise, I will reject your software. So imagine what will happen to the software if you're not doing unit integration, system acceptance testing. You'll be delivering software which is very poor quality, right? So that is one. Another way to look at testing is functional and non-functional. And why am I telling you this? One, of course, could be that I want to teach you testing, but the time is too little to teach you testing. But the reason why I'm telling you is that these two types of tests, functional and non-functional tests typically require specialization. For example, there could be performance testing. This requires a lot of technical skills. If you know programming, that much better. So it requires those skills as well. So you can do performance testing and become a performance testing expert. Of course, you need to know how to test it first, but then after that, performance testing is not really a problem. You need to acquire a lot of knowledge, but first you need to understand what is manual testing. Then comes security testing. So I want to do penetration testing. I want to test that I have right access. Unauthorized people cannot use my application, cannot access it. My data is secure, everything is secure, network is secure. So you have security testing. So performance testing, security testing, resilience testing, chaos testing. There are a lot of different types of non-functional tests that can be performed. And what happens is when you become an expert in any one of these non-functional areas, then you can get a premium in terms of your salaries and so on. And all of this, I told you, you're doing it like an end user. That's a manual testing. But if you know code, sometimes no code also, you can actually have the computer do some of the actions again and again. And you can probably put some intelligence also in testing, but it is done by computer. That is automated testing. So if you love coding, that is where you can find your niche. And automation and automated testing also is very important from the perspective of the job role, and also from the point of view of salaries that you get when you are expert in automation testing, right? There are other tests also. I am not really getting into those because those are things that you'll know when you get into testing. But essentially three things: manual testing, which is your functional testing; then non-functional testing, which contains usability testing, user experience testing, performance testing, security testing, resilience testing, chaos testing, etc., etc. Then there is automated testing, which requires programming and tools. So these are three main streams in which you can go in software testing. Of course, there are some other streams as well, which happen later. For example, process improvement and so on. But we'll not talk about that today. Okay. Since I assume most of you are students and or recent pass outs, or you are continuing in the college. So you would have heard these names: Agile, DevOps, Cloud, AI, and how everybody is going digital. So what is the impact of these? How does it matter to you? Well, it opens certain more avenues for you. So when you become a tester, you have to adopt some way of how the software is going to develop and how you as a tester are going to integrate with the software development. Traditionally, developers would develop the software, hand it over to the testers, testers would test it, find problems, hand the problems to the developers, developers will fix it and give a new software to the testers will find more problems in it, give the problems back to the developers, and this ping pong will continue. This is called as throwing over the wall. So you have a wall, developers on one side, testers on the other side, and you keep throwing the build, you keep throwing the software and the bug software and the bug software and the bugs. Agile changes that. Agile says you have to accept ownership of what you are doing. So what do you do for that? How do you accept ownership? Well, the way to accept ownership is that you say, I would be doing this. And while you may not have finished everything, but tell me what you have done. Whatever incomplete work that you have, give it to me, I will test it. Whatever unit testing you are doing, show it to me, I will review what you are doing from a testing perspective. So Agile makes developers and testers, the wall goes away and everybody starts to work together. So this gives even more opportunities to the testers to influence how good or bad the software quality becomes. Then comes the part of DevOps, and DevOps is very interesting. I'm sure when you started to ride a bicycle, for example, when you were young, and fortunately there are no licenses required for riding a bicycle. So maybe you learned it at age of 4 years or 5 years, or maybe 8 years, it depends. The city where I come from, there was a time when this was city of bicycles. People used to, children used to learn walking later and riding a bicycle at the end. So why am I talking about bicycles? Well, what happens in DevOps is very simple. You automate everything. What do you try to do? You move from bicycle to a fully automated thing where you just sit and you reach the destination. So what does that really mean? Well, it means the following. You've heard of driverless cars, correct? So no drivers required, everything gets done automatically. Similarly, can I, right from developing the software to actually installing it, can I do away with human intervention as much as possible? Of course, somebody has to write software, somebody has to test software, but other than that, can I do something else? So people have a lot of software that has been developed now. So there's an example of a tool called Jenkins, and basically the moment you write your code and put it into your cloud code repository, it automatically picks that up, compiles it. Then you have to write some automated tests. It automatically triggers those automated tests, unit testing, integration testing, or everything that I talked about. And then, it gives the build to you. Now you do manual testing, and in parallel, you write some automated test and write some more test and more test. Now what happens is a new change comes in, you write that code, it automatically picks that, again repeats the whole cycle of running all the unit tests, all the integration tests, all the system tests, all automatically. So by the time you are done, you have all automated tests, no hands. That was the cycle thing. So when you write cycle, you sometimes show, oh, I can write the cycle with only one hand. And then when you gain a little more confidence, you say, Ma, look, no hands. Sometimes, of course, you break your teeth, but most of the times that doesn't happen when you are safe and sound. And that is what DevOps is all about, no hands, right? I hope I've been able to explain DevOps. And in this whole process, one of the most important things, ingredients, is the cloud. Of course, you have Gmail, for example. When you look at Google Drive, that's something that is hosted on cloud. So all of you understand cloud, right? Interesting thing is a lot of cloud related development has started to happen now. Cloud forms a very important part of DevOps, important step tool technology in DevOps, and DevOps can be applied very easily in cloud. So from a testing perspective, there are specialized testing. For example, if I'm working on cloud technology, how do I test all of that? If I'm working in AI technology, how do I test all of that? If I'm using DevOps, what all do I need to do what is called as continuous testing? So there is continuous integration, continuous development. If you have not heard the name, doesn't matter. But all the time, without intervention, everything is happening automatically. AI. Now, I don't know how much of exposure to AI you have, but I would like to say one thing, that if you are thinking that AI is going to test the software by itself, not today. Maybe AI will start writing the software by itself first, and then it would be able to test it. But hopefully that day never comes in my life when you have self-testing code, right? But AI, how to test it and how to use AI in testing and how to use AI in automation are some of the important topics today. And as a tester, you can participate in all of those. So even if you have AI ML, so for example, in my product company, Test AI-NG, where we have a product called AI Ensured, we have 5 developers who are hardcore AI ML guys. We have 5 testers who are also AI ML developers and who use AI ML development, and they basically test. They build the product, they test the product, they use that knowledge to test the product. And then we have career testers who don't know much about AI, but they take the product and how end users are going to use it, they try to test it like that. So essentially what I'm saying is, no matter what technology you are working in today, what lifecycle models you are using today, testing is for you, and there is something related to testing in everybody's life. Okay. So these are examples of how you use technology to test, AI to test, DevOps and cloud, shift left, shift right. I don't know if you've heard the name or not, and doesn't matter. All we are saying is that as a career tester, if I come after the software has been built, now the movement is that people to the left side, meaning those who are developing the software, should also test. After I am tested and you release the software, you should continue to monitor the usage of the software, that there are no bugs there and so on. So left shift, right shift. That's what we are really talking about. Examples. From LinkedIn, 29283 software testing jobs. Naukri, sorry, not 27,000 jobs. Monster.com, close to 30,000 jobs, right? 1,34,971 jobs on Naukri.com. So all for testing. So I'm saying there are plenty of opportunities, good salaries, etc., that are happening for all testing related jobs at various capacities. So opportunities are never a problem. And I would say that the world is awaiting good testers with bated breath. With that, I end my session and I'm open to questions. Thank you so much. So let me see if I can look at the chat to see if there are questions. Oh yes, software testing is available for freshers, year gap candidates also. Any other question that you might have? I believe Riji can best take these questions about the fee. I think I can answer this question. It's the salary part.
Yeah, we'll take it. Yeah, sure.
So, okay, please go ahead and answer that question if you want right now. Otherwise, I will answer other questions.
We have another segment that discusses about the government projects as well as the opportunities. We will answer those questions at the end. You can answer these questions now.
All right. Thank you so much, Lizzie. Now, salaries. So there are two ways to look at salaries. One is starting salary. One is what you will get 3 years from now. And hence, so there, those who have really good training in testing and have good academics, generally speaking, and very good training in testing, and they have certification. Typically, they can expect a beginning salary of 2,40,000 to 3 lakh something. That is something that you can expect. Of course, people get 5 and 6 and 8 lakh rupees also, but it depends on, there are a lot of other factors. Sometimes what happens is you don't get into a company directly at those salaries. So they may start you with a stipend, say 10,000 rupees, see you for 3 months. And if you prove that you indeed are a good tester, then, these salaries that I talked about, they can be there. So hopefully that answers your question. After that, there's no limit. There are a lot of people in my company who are getting salaries of, for example, somebody who handles a very senior role has 36 lakh rupees per annum salary. Somebody else has 16 lakh rupees. Somebody, and there are freshers who just joined who are at 10,000 rupees stipend for 3 months for evaluation. So all sorts of. Do AI testers use AI tools concept to do software testing, or they test AI/ML products and softwares? Both things are possible, but typically when you use the word AI tester, you typically mean people who are testing AI/ML software rather than using AI to test software. Because to use AI to test software, there are a lot of automation tools available, and you have to just use them. So hopefully, Sajid, that answers your question. 20 years experience in local ERP, can I shift to testing? Of course, you can shift to testing. Your experience is going to help you a lot. You can be a domain tester. And by domain tester, we mean people who have a domain experience. And then maybe you can attend a testing related training, get a certification, and then move on. Don't get disheartened by the initial joining salary, because after 20 years you might be expecting something more. It may be a little less, but within a year or two you can actually get to the level where you want to be. This is something that I want to tell every fresher. Don't look at the joining salary as the main criteria unless you have a limitation because of which you need higher salaries. Otherwise, look for the work. The most important thing is the quality of testing that you get to do. You may get the best salary, but if you don't grow in experience, what happens the year and the year next to that, and so on? Because your salary growth would happen on the basis of the work that you are learned. And that's why always pay emphasis on good quality of work in the beginning of your career. Bijumohan, I hope that answers your question. Mohan Krishnan, skill-based or certificate-based in interviews? Hardly anybody knows how to do skill-based interviews, especially. So that is one big problem. So most people actually go for knowledge-based interview questions. So certification always helps in that. Certification also gives you an edge, because sometimes people look at the certification as a hygiene factor. If you have certification, they choose you for further interviews. Otherwise, they don't even choose you for the interview. They don't shortlist your resume. Mostly for freshers, they are not looking for skills unless you are trained. And if you are trained and you can show some skills, they're very happy with that. But mostly they are looking for knowledge from freshers and a bit of hands-on experience if they can have. For lateral hires, they are always looking for experience, which is skill-based, but they don't know how to interview skill-based, unfortunately, most of the people. What are the certifications needed to become a tester? One of the most important certification you could ever look at would be Htqp foundation level certificate, Htqp. Indian Testing Board is the organization. I told you I'm the president of that. Provide this certification. There are worldwide some 7 lakh certified testers with Htqp foundation level certificate. So it is the de facto standard in the industry. I don't think I need to justify that certification to anyone, including the people who are doing shortlisting and all. So that is one. But once you are a tester, then there are a lot of specialty certifications available. for AI, for test design, advanced level certifications, performance testing, security testing, and so on and so forth. So Jaisima, I hope that answers your question. Arvind, is it advisable to shift domain and start career in testing after 5 years? It depends. What are you doing in this domain and what growth you see? So somebody once told me, and this is probably, if I hurt somebody's sentiments by giving this example, please don't mind. But, somebody told me once that, what is the point of being an engineer today? Because somebody who picks up coconut in Kerala gets 15, 18, 20,000 rupees. And if I'm getting only 10,000 as an engineer as a stipend, this is not good enough. My answer to that, and I've already said that, is it is not what you are getting today. It is what you will get tomorrow. That is the key. And, so the person who is picking up coconut may make 20, 25, 30, 40, right? There's an upper limit. But as a software tester, there is no upper limit. 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 5 lakh. It totally depends on what role you are playing there. So is it advisable to shift domain? Very hard for me to say, unless I know what domain, how much you are earning, what is the potential. But I hope I have given you an idea of what you can really look at. If you're good in that domain and people need software testers of that domain, then you can combine the both. You have software testing experience, you have domain experience, and domain testers are not easy to get. So could be useful. Which automation tool? Selenium continues to rule the roost even today. So that's one of the most important one. But then, now that you have a lot of new technology coming in, so there are additional tools, Cafe, Mocha, there are so many that keep coming up. But if you ask me, probably 70% of the people still, or 75% are still using Selenium. As a fresher, manual testing or automation? Well, without manual testing, there cannot be automation testing. Because if you don't know what is testing and how do I test, how will you code your tests? Otherwise, what you'll do is you'll do whatever comes to your mind. You will just put some automation code. Is it checking the right things? Can more things be done? You'll never be able to do that. So somebody is going to give you manual test cases and you'll just code it blindly and whether it is effective or not. So manual testing is a must no matter what kind of testing you do. That knowledge you should have. After that, you can specialize in automation. It's like MBBS. You need MBBS before you become an MD or MS or a cardiologist. Doesn't matter. Non-CS graduate, tech enthusiast. Yes, as I said, if you're tech enthusiast and you, this is Mohammed Reis, right? So if you have coding experience, you can get into testing and move into one of the more technical sides like automation or performance and so on. Or you could, do some testing in the embedded domain where you need knowledge of code in order to write your own tools and so on. You can do that. And if you don't have any of this, you can still be a good manual tester if you have the aptitude for that. There's no minimum qualification, honestly speaking, from a doing good testing perspective. If there is any qualification to get into the program, of course, Riji would be answering that question later. And Riji would be, so Bijumon and Jancy, Riji would be answering those questions of duration, placement, etc. as well. What is the monthly salary? I think I did tell you anything from 10,000 as a stipend to 25,000 rupees per month, going all the way, then increasing every year. Certifications, I would suggest that you go to istqb.in. There a lot of testing related certifications are listed, and certifications are about teaching you how to do software testing, basic terminology, different types of tests and so on. So that's the foundation course and you should be looking at that. Is it possible to move to developer from tester? Yes, it is possible. For example, in Adobe, I had a few colleagues who actually moved from being a software tester to developer. It totally depends on your aptitude and whether you can do good coding or not. So Sonu, hopefully that answers. Alfonso, Freelance testing jobs, well, there are many. How much do they pay, and is it enough to make your daily bread? I don't know, because I have not done that job, so I don't know. However, I can tell you one thing very, very clearly, and that is that if you make a name for yourself, then you can be a consultant and you can get very good money as a consultant. Is it easy to clear Htqp foundation level as a fresher? Indeed, if you have prepared for it, it is easy. If you've understood, so when you get trained by professionals who actually do testing and don't just teach theory, then it is not very hard to clear. But it can get confusing. So very, I would say clarity of thought is one of the most important things that's required. Placements, lot of companies, lot of people requiring freshers, trained people. Actually, I'll tell you, I've done this in 2005. I started this software testers training in Noida, and we used to train 50, 60 people, 100 people every month. All word of mouth. We did not have to give out a single advertisement. We didn't have to spend a single penny on marketing. People came to us by themselves, and they got trained, and 50% of them actually got placed before the training was over, or while they were actually undergoing training. Some of them probably within a month of their joining, and so on. And remaining people, within 6 months, they were able to find a good job. So are there jobs? For sure, there are jobs. Of course, there are a lot of other factors in getting a job, not just training. For example, your communication skills. How do you present? How do you answer? Right? What kind of depth of knowledge do you show? And so, what kind of enthusiasm you show, and so on. I would say it once again, my dear friend Anish, start as a manual tester, but continue to hone your skills. Get an opportunity to do automation, nothing like it. If you start as an automation engineer, learn manual testing. They go hand in hand. Okay. How to become a software tester from zero? The ICT Academy is going to run this training programs supported by Government of Kerala. So Riji is going to talk more about it. That's how you become a software tester from zero, right? What is the right time to move to automation testing and other testing types? Depends on opportunities, depends on your aptitude. So a few months in manual testing would give you a good grounding, and maybe 6 months to 1 year after that, you can start to specialize. Or, within 2 months or 3 months, you can pick up these additional roles. If you go to a startup, for example, they will allow you to do a lot of things that a big company would not allow you to do. So for example, you said, I can automate. Nobody will hold you back. You have 24 hours in a day, do whatever you want to. And that's the good part of being in a startup, for example, that while the salaries may be low, but you get to learn a lot, right? That, you get a lot of freedom and so on. For software testing, which technology I have to study? Now I can pronounce your name as Jose John, or I can say Jos John. So however, whatever way you pronounce your name, I'm sorry. So learn whatever technologies are current, learn. They have nothing to do with testing. You'll have to learn testing. But when you learn technology and you learn testing, you can become a much better tester than somebody who just knows testing but doesn't know technology. So I hope that answers your question. How to do software testing? Which institute provides software testing in Calicut? I don't have BSc computer, but I am an IT professional. All right. So good. So software testing could be good for you. Definitely it could be good for you. So Sajila, that's something that I would say, but it depends on your aptitude. I have no idea how well you are doing professionally today and what aptitude you have for testing. But if you're doing well today professionally and you have an aptitude for testing, you're likely to do even better. All right. So minimum salary expectation for 1 year in manual tester with Htqp foundation level, 20K. See, the salaries also are dependent on what we are talking about. In Bangalore, you might actually be getting anything from 2.4 lakh per annum to 4.8 lakh per annum as a fresher. And same thing if you were to go to my hometown, you will probably get 10,000 rupees. But 10,000 rupees in my hometown probably are much more than 40,000 rupees in Bangalore. So it depends. I will tell you, somebody who moved from Trivandrum to Cochin, 8 years of experience, that lady called me up. She didn't know, me, but she heard my name from somewhere. So she reached out to me and she asked me this question, that I was getting in Trivandrum 1 lakh rupees. Now in Cochin, I'm getting only 80,000 rupees. So this is bad for me. Or maybe in Bangalore, she was getting 1 lakh rupees, whatever. So I asked her, it doesn't matter how much money you are getting. First of all, how much money are you saving? Because if you spend 20,000 rupees on rent, and this is your own home at this place, that is money saved, right? So, it doesn't matter, you are equivalent. So this is something that you have to look at. Saving potential, that is the first thing. Second, satisfaction of being where you are. If it makes your life easier, more fulfilling, then a little bit of salary here or there doesn't make any difference. The numbers definitely don't make a difference. You have to look at the saving potential. Okay, how important it is to learn different databases like SQL and scripting languages. To begin with, if you just know a little bit of SQL and any one database like MySQL, and you can connect to it and run some queries, you are sorted. Later on, the technology that you would need depends on the projects that you get. So don't be, always focus on the fundamentals, because technology would keep on changing. So do you understand the database concepts? Do you understand relational database concepts? Do you understand how to write queries? After that, it's Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, doesn't matter. If you understand database concepts, then if there's no SQL, for example, Node4j, Neo4j, MongoDB, and so on, you would be able to do well there. So concepts are more important than that particular specific technology that you might be looking at. I hope I have answered all the questions. If I have not answered anybody's question, you can still put it here if we have time. I'd be happy to answer. Otherwise, I think I have answered. So all yours, Riji. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vibal. It was a pleasure listening to you. The way in which you explained the concept, it was so simple, easy to understand to anyone, and also the way in which you answered all the questions that came through the chat. So thank you so much. So let's take you to the next part. My colleague Sri Kumar is here. Sri Kumar is the head of retail operations in ICT Academy of Kerala. So he'll be explaining about the some of the government project that will help you to upskill. From your registration, we understand that most of you are from just completed your UG or PG. You are looking to get an opportunity. And now people told you that the opportunities are there, the trends are there, and if you already have the skill, you can definitely step in and grab those opportunities from whichever way you can. But on the other side, you feel that some of the things that mentioned here, whether it is a Java concept or it is the expertise in a tool called Selenium, so you need to be upskilled. So the government is coming with a lot of upskilling opportunities, and my colleague will explain you about those opportunities, and then after that we will answer some of your questions related to this.
Thank you, Riji, and thank you, Vibal. As Riji mentioned, this actually is a specific awareness program, which actually we would like to bring into the students community, mainly on the technology front as well as the opportunity front. It's a part of an initiative called Kerala Knowledge Economy Mission. So I hope most of you people are already hear about Kerala Knowledge Economy Mission. Are you already registered with a domain called Digital Workforce Management System? As a part of that, you may get an invitation from ICT Academy to inviting you for such a session, which ensure that actually enabling the people on the industrial trends, because most of the time what happens means the industrial driven trend as well as the market driven trend is totally different actually. So whenever there is actually huge demand is available in the industry, it may not actually known by the people who are actually looking for a job. They're actually running behind actually a market driven industry. It may not actually giving that much actually job opportunity. So that's why we initially picked actually the software testing, because as of now, if you take actually the people who are registered with the DWMS domain for job seeking purposes, we have actually very huge number of openings are available for a software testing domain, but actually very less number of people are applied for that specific jobs. So that's why we thought actually we will actually connect with the people who are in the domain and to giving actually the trends of the industry that may helping you to actually utilize in a proper manner. Okay. So before I'm getting into the detail of actually the KKM, I would like to actually actually put the stage to a person who actually it's a person behind actually the initiative actually. So instead of I'm saying actually about the KKM project, Mr. Dr. K.M. Abraham IAS, he's actually an executive vice chairman, KDISC, as well as he's presently serving as a chief principal secretary to Honorable Chief Minister of Kerala. He's a brain actually, a man behind this specific initiative. I will actually share his thoughts through a recorded content, recorded video. So I would request Nitin to actually run the video. It will give actually a brief idea about what actually KK and what KK is doing for the youth of Kerala. What are the benefit the youth as well as the job seekers will get out of the project? Nitin, can you able to run the video?
നോളജ് എക്കോണമി മിഷൻ, അതായത് KDISC-നെ ഏൽപ്പിച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന ഏറ്റവും വലിയ ബൃഹത്തായ ഒരു പദ്ധതി. ആ ഒരു പദ്ധതിയുടെ ഉദ്ദേശ ലക്ഷ്യം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ യുവതലമുറ അവരെ ലക്ഷ്യം വെച്ചിട്ടുള്ളതാണ്. അപ്പോൾ കേരളം എന്നും ഒരു നെറ്റ് എക്സ്പോർട്ടർ ഓഫ് ഹ്യൂമൻ റിസോഴ്സാണ്. നമ്മൾ പുറത്തോട്ട് അയക്കുന്ന വ്യക്തികളുടെ എണ്ണം അല്ലെങ്കിൽ തൊഴിൽ തേടിപ്പോകുന്നവരുടെ എണ്ണം നമ്മൾക്കകത്ത് തൊഴിലുണ്ടാക്കുന്ന നമ്പറിനെക്കാട്ടിലും കൂടുതലാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ഒരു കാര്യം നിലനിർത്തണം എന്നുള്ളത് വളരെ പ്രധാനമായിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യമാണ്. വി ഹാവ് ടു കണ്ടിന്യൂ ടു ബി ദ ബെസ്റ്റ് ഇൻ ഹ്യൂമൻ റിസോഴ്സസ്. അതാണ് നമ്മുടെ ഒരു ലക്ഷ്യം. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ഹ്യൂമൻ റിസോഴ്സ് എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് സർക്കാരിൽ ഒരാണ്ടിൽ 20,000 മുതൽ 30,000 പുതിയ ജോലികൾ വരും. സർക്കാർ എതിരെ ഈ പബ്ലിക് സെക്ടർ കമ്പനിയും കൂടെ എടുക്കുവാണെങ്കിൽ ഒരു 2,000 3,000 വരും. അതിനകത്ത് ഇത് വരുന്നത് പുതിയതല്ലെന്ന് ഓർക്കണം, ഈ റിട്ടയർമെൻറ്റ് വേക്കൻസികൾ നിറയ്ക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ബാക്കിയുള്ള ജോലികൾ ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ട് എന്നുള്ളൊരു കോൺഫിഡൻസ് നമ്മുടെ യുവതലമുറയ്ക്ക് കൊടുക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാമിൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയൊരു ലക്ഷ്യം. അപ്പോൾ ഇപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ഈ ഒരു പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിൻ്റെ വ്യത്യാസം കൃത്യമായിട്ട് ഞാൻ പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, അതൊരു എംപ്ലോയ്മെൻറ്റ് എക്സ്ചേഞ്ച് അല്ല, അതൊരു സ്കില്ലിംഗ് പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം അല്ല, അതൊരു മിയർ ഗവൺമെൻറ് പ്രോഗ്രാമിൻ്റെ ഭാഗമായിട്ട് ഒരു അവസരം കൊടുക്കുന്നത് മാത്രമല്ല. ഇതൊരു വളരെ കോംപ്ലക്സ് എക്കോസിസ്റ്റം നമ്മൾ ഇതിൽ കൂടുതൽ വാർത്തെടുക്കുകയാണ്. ഒരു സൈഡിൽ ഒരു എംപ്ലോയ്മെൻറ്റ് മാർക്കറ്റ് പ്ലേസ് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യും. അവിടെ നമ്മൾ എംപ്ലോയേഴ്സിനെയും നമ്മുടെ കുട്ടികളെയും നമ്മുടെ എംപ്ലോയീസിനെയും കൂടെ ഒരുമിച്ച് കൊണ്ടുവന്ന് മാച്ച് ചെയ്യാൻ നോക്കുന്ന ഒരു വലിയ സംരംഭം. രണ്ടാമത്തതിൽ ഈ ഗ്യാപ്പ് എന്തുവാണ് നമ്മൾ കണ്ടുപിടിക്കുന്നത്. വേറെ ആരും അങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യാറില്ല. ഈ ഗ്യാപ്പ് കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചിട്ട് ഈ ഗ്യാപ്പ് നികത്തുവാനായിട്ട് നമ്മുടെ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് അവസരം കൊടുക്കുന്നു. ഉദാഹരണം, ഒരു ജാവ പ്രോഗ്രാമിങ്ങിന് പോയി, പക്ഷേ എംപ്ലോയർ പറയുന്നു ശരിയല്ല, ഞങ്ങൾ ഇയാളുടെ CV പരിശോധിച്ചു, ഇയാളുമായിട്ട് ഇൻ്റർവ്യൂ നടത്തി, പക്ഷേ ഈ വ്യക്തിയിൽ സബ്ജക്റ്റ് നോളജ് പോരാ. അപ്പം നമ്മളെന്ത് ചോദിക്കുന്നു, ജാവ പ്രോഗ്രാമിങ്ങിൻ്റെ ഒരു കോഴ്സിൽ നിങ്ങൾ വരാൻ തയ്യാറാണോ എന്ന് നമ്മൾ ചോദിക്കുകയും ആ കോഴ്സിന് പഠിപ്പിക്കാനായിട്ടുള്ള അവസരം നമ്മൾ ഒരുക്കി കൊടുക്കുകയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഈ മുമ്പോട്ട് ഈ ഒരു ജോബ് മാച്ചിങ് എംപ്ലോയിയെയും കൊണ്ടുവരുമ്പം ഇതിനോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ സ്കിൽ ഡെഫിഷ്യൻസി കാലിബ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് അത് നികത്തി കൊടുക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. ഇനി ഇവർ എംപ്ലോയ്മെൻറ്റിന് പോയി എന്നിരിക്കട്ടെ, നമ്മൾ എംപ്ലോയറിനോട് പറയുന്നത് നിങ്ങൾ റിസ്ക് എടുക്കണ്ട, നിങ്ങൾ ധൈര്യമായിട്ട് മുന്നോട്ട് വരും. നിങ്ങളൊരു കാൻഡിഡേറ്റിൻ്റെ ഡെഫിഷ്യൻസി ജോലി സ്ഥലത്ത് വെച്ച് കണ്ടു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഞങ്ങളോട് പറഞ്ഞാൽ മതി. ഞങ്ങൾ ഈ വ്യക്തിയെ തിരിച്ചെടുത്ത് ഇവർക്ക് സോഷ്യൽ സേഫ്റ്റി നെറ്റിൽ കൂടെ നമ്മളൊരു സപ്പോർട്ട് സിസ്റ്റം കൊടുക്കുകയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഈ സപ്പോർട്ട് സിസ്റ്റം എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇപ്പോൾ 6 മാസം അടുത്ത കോഴ്സ് തീർക്കാൻ 6 മാസം എടുക്കുക, കാലതാമസം ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ആ 6 മാസം ട്രെയിൻ ചെയ്യണം, 6 മാസം ട്രെയിൻ ചെയ്യണം. 6 മാസം ട്രെയിൻ ചെയ്യുമ്പം ഈ വ്യക്തിക്ക് ചിലവ് കഴിയണമല്ലോ, അതിനൊരു സോഷ്യൽ സേഫ്റ്റി നെറ്റും കൂടെ ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഒരു മൾട്ടി ലെയർഡാണ്. ഒരു സൈഡിൽ വളരെ വലിയൊരു മാച്ചിങ് പ്രോഗ്രാം നടന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നു, വേറൊരു സൈഡിൽ ഈക്വലൻ്റായിട്ട് ഒരു സ്കിൽ പ്രൊവിഷൻ പ്രോഗ്രാം നടന്നു. ഓരോന്നിനും അതിൻ്റേതായിട്ടുള്ള വ്യത്യസ്തമായിട്ടുള്ള ഇതുണ്ട്, ഫീച്ചേഴ്സുണ്ട്. ഉദാഹരണം പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഈ മാച്ചിങ് ലെവൽ തന്നെ എടുക്കുക. വെറുതെ നമ്മൾ എംപ്ലോയേഴ്സ് ഫാക്ടറീസ് രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്യുക, മാച്ച് ചെയ്യുക അല്ല. ഇത് നമ്മൾ ഇൻ്റർനാഷണൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള അഗ്രിഗേറ്റേഴ്സുമായിട്ടും ബന്ധപ്പെടും, മനസ്സിലായില്ലേ, ഒരു തട്ടിൽ. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മുടെ ലോക്കൽ ഇൻഡസ്ട്രിയുമായിട്ട് ബന്ധപ്പെടും. അപ്പം എനിക്ക് വിദ്യാർത്ഥികളോട്, യുവതലമുറയോട് പറയാനായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു ആഹ്വാനം എന്ന് വേണേൽ അതിനെ വിശേഷിപ്പിക്കാം. ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാമിൽ വരുന്ന ഇതിൻ്റെ അവസരങ്ങൾ ഉപയോഗിക്കാം. ഈ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിലേക്ക് ഈ വിദ്യാർത്ഥിനി സുഹൃത്തുക്കളും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ യുവതലമുറയും കൂടെ വന്ന് തൊഴിൽ അന്വേഷിക്കുന്നവർ അതിനകത്ത് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യുമ്പം അവർക്ക് ഒരു ക്ഷമയോടുകൂടി ഈ ഒരു സ്കിൽ പ്രോഗ്രാമിൻ്റെ ബെനിഫിറ്റ്സ് അത് സ്വീകരിക്കാനായിട്ട് വരണം. നമ്മുടെ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിൽ വരുന്ന എംപ്ലോയേഴ്സ് അവർക്കറിയാമല്ലോ, അവർ എക്സ്പോസ്ഡ് ആണെന്ന് അറിയാമല്ലോ, അവർ ഇത്രയും കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഓഫർ ചെയ്യുന്നു. ഈ ഓഫർ അനുസരിച്ച് ഒരു പബ്ലിക് പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം, സർക്കാർ ഓടിക്കുന്ന ഒരു പബ്ലിക് പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിൽ അവർ വന്ന് രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്യുന്നു. അവർക്ക് ഇത്തരത്തിലുള്ള ജോലി ഉണ്ടെന്ന് പറയുന്നു. അവർ ഈ ജോലിയിൽ മിനിമം ഇത്രയും കാര്യങ്ങൾ കൊടുക്കുമെന്ന് അവർ ആദ്യം തന്നെ പറയുന്നു. ഇൻ്റർവ്യൂവിന് നമ്മുടെ കുട്ടികൾ പോകുന്നു, അവർക്ക് സെലക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നു. അപ്പം ഒരു ശകലം ഒരു പേരൻറ്റിങ്ങും കൂടെ ഈ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിൻ്റെ ഒരു ഫംഗ്ഷനാണ്.
Thank you, Nitin. So you may be actually having a very clear idea what actually KKM is doing now. KKM is actually technically known as Kerala Knowledge Economy Mission. It is coming under actually KDISC. KDISC is actually a skilling vehicle for Kerala to do actually a lot of activities. They're doing a lot of activities. One of the important activities is KKM. And what Htqp Academy of Kerala is actually related with KKM. That is the thing actually I would like to explain for next couple of minutes. Htqp Academy of Kerala is actually working with the KKM project in 2 areas. Actually, the one area is we are actually a job aggregator for the KKM project. That means actually, as it is mentioned, actually providing a job is one of the mandate for the KKM project. So we are actually working as a job aggregator to actually bringing the job to the platform. Actually, it is not only ITS, but all other segment also. But actually, our main focus is on ITS. That is the one area we actually contributing or actually work associated with the KKM project. The second part is, as most of you people know, actually ICT Academy is a skilling agency. The ICT Academy of Kerala is formed 8 years back, actually 2014, to keeping in mind to providing a skilling for the youths of Kerala, which internally empower the peoples to get a better placement in IT and ITS industry. That is the purpose of actually the ICT Academy of Kerala. It is a public-private partnership, a not-for-profit organization, which is actually associated with the government of Kerala and supported by government of India. And also we partner with the industries like IBS, USD Global, Quest and other partners. So we have 2, as I mentioned. So skilling also our another active association with the Kerala Knowledge Economy. Skilling is only on IT and ITS segment, because the Knowledge Economy Mission is a very broader project actually. So it not only IT and ITS, but it having lot of other actually jobs. Anything is going beyond actually blue collar jobs are actually coming under the Knowledge Economy Mission. But our scope is only on skilling on IT and ITS. So this specific program, actually the software testing, the trends and analysis, the webinar session, purpose of the webinar session is, as I already mentioned, we having a very huge demand. Presently, there is a very huge demand, and we are actually expecting also the demand will will be available for the actually next 6 to 1 year period. So the software testing market is a very the booming market that already statistics are shown by Wibble. Actually, there is lakhs of plus openings are available in the open market, but it also available on the Kerala market also. So that's why we thought actually we would like to have such a session to share that information with you people. So you now understand what KKM is doing, what actually ICT Academy's role on KKM. Then actually I would like to explain why ICT Academy is actually a better place to do a skilling. If you actually would like to do a skilling, then you have actually a lot of options to do a skilling. But as I mentioned, we are very closely working with the KKM project. Ultimately, we can able to support you on actually the employment and other things also. It is not only our actually our value addition. We have other couple of value additions also. The next value addition is, as I mentioned, actually we are actually very closely working with the industry. So we are having a very strong industrial partnership that will help us to deliver the program on the industrial standard actually. So most of the times what happens is whenever the people's going for interview, the normal the feedback they will get it from the industry people, actually the candidate is, yeah, you are actually very good on the knowledges. So you having a very good knowledge, but actually we are expecting some skills, because whenever fresher recruitment is happening, without skilled people are observed on the campus placement. So they will do actually across the campuses. At the time of graduation, you may actually witness that across the campuses, all the companies will come and do the campus drive. They will not actually looking for any skills. They will looking for only knowledge. People who having a knowledge, they can observe, and they're given an internal skilling training program inside the companies for a period of actually 3 to 6 months, depending on the company size and other things. Then they will actually put on the project. Then they will start their career. It will go like that actually. So once if you are missed out with the campus placement, then actually the second opportunity is your knowledge only not test, actually skills also more important, because the knowledge part is already completed in the campus life itself. Because for 2020, if they having any opening any need now, means they will again go to campuses to knowledge people. But actually as already mentioned, there is a huge openings are available. If they're going to campuses, they can actually protect you on 2023 only, because they may be passed out. Then only they can able to contribute for the company. For the immediate actually opening and immediate actually demands, they're actually looking for the people who are actually already graduated and actually they're looking for a job in the market. They're actually skilling is also playing a major role, because they're not in a position to again actually absorbing all those people and giving a long-term skilling. Then they will go for project. So there actually the KKM as well as ICT Academy playing a major role on actually doing a skilling actually for the students with the industrial standards. That also with actually the government scholarship and actually government that actually funded loans and a lot of facilities are available. So that also ICT Academy is doing. So if actually the students would like to take assure their career on software testing, they would like to upskill, then actually these schemes, actually the scholarship scheme as well as other schemes will actually help them to acquire the skills. And actually internally the placement is not a big challenge. As I mentioned, there is a lot of openings out there. Only thing is you need to as people mentioned correctly, the skills not only actually the main criteria for actually for the companies to recruit the candidates. It also having some additional criteria. So you need to actually develop the additional criteria like actually communication skills and interpersonal skills and actually problem solving skills. Parallelly, along with actually our skilling program, then you having a very huge chance of getting a placement in the actually the software testing domain. And the internally ICT Academy and assuring actually you will get 100% placement support from ICT Academy. So all the people who are completing the program successfully will get a support from ICT Academy on the placement part. That assurance we can able to give it. Getting a placement purely depending on the candidates, actually the skills and actually performance on the interviews. So these are the things I would like to share regarding the project as well as actually the program as a larger larger way. So regarding the opportunity part, there is a lot of opportunities are available. The only thing is, if you having a desire to actually doing a skill and you need to dedicate your time, then that opportunity is not a big deal for you. So that is the thing I would like to share. Regarding specific technology and other things, what ICT Academy offer, Riji is the right person to share it. Already mentioned, Riji is actually heading our knowledge office. He's closely working with the industries as well as the students and developing a content based on the industry needs. Actually, we are doing the delivery. So I will invite Riji to talk more about that. Yeah, welcome, Riji.
Thank you, Seymour. Since it is a forum that we discuss about software testing, so I will concentrate on the software testing part. The software testing, some of the questions already there in the chat asking about the mode of delivery. The certification program that ICT Academy offers is a 6-month certification program, which consists of 3 main categories. So the course is delivered in 3 different levels. And the first 4 months is the training part. That is, it is going to be the instructor-led training that will be happening. And also we will give you recorded content so that you can learn in your convenient time. Come and meet the instructor on a live. So the course is going on a periodical way, in a progressive way, on a weekly basis. So the learning will complete in 4 months' time. And the 5th month is dedicated for a capstone project. So based on what you learn, you will be developing something, and that will be happening in the 5th month. And finally, this course is having an most important aspect of the course is there is an internship. So we will provide a 1-month internship. Currently, it is done as a virtual internship. So the course is also offered as a virtual course. So if you are from different parts, or somebody is asking whether you can attend it from Bangalore. So we have participants attending from other countries as well. And the only thing is that they have to adjust the timing based on our time zone. So the live sessions are scheduled on our time, maybe in the evening, just like we are meeting from 5 to 6. So live sessions are scheduled in the evening time. One change that we will be bringing in the next batches is we are providing an opportunity to meet the learners can meet the instructors online or physically in the form of a boot camp. So the boot camp is actually an extra thing that we will be offering for those who are in Kerala or wanted to come to a physical location and want to have a next level interaction with the learner. So otherwise, we will be having virtual bootcamp organized as part of this course. So in a nutshell, what I would like to say that this course is delivered as a 6-month certification program with a lot of case studies, assignments, everything. So it's a hands-on training program. We don't have any special session for theory. Everything is hands-on. And then you will be challenged through assignments, case studies, project, and finally we will connect you very close to an industry use case in the form of an virtual internship. So that's all about the training program. And if you have any queries, definitely we will be answering. So some of the queries are there in the chat. Sri Kumar also, you can also answer to the queries. One question is somebody is asking, Reba is asking about can ICT Academy provide direct interviews other than the course? So I think all of you have enrolled to the DWMS platform. In the platform itself, you are connected through employers. So if you are skilled, you can crack a job directly through the platform. So the skilling is another opportunity for those people who want a skilling to get the employment. So to answer to your question, there are chances. If you are enrolled into the platform, you can directly connect to the employers.
Yeah, I would like to add that as I mentioned, ICT Academy is a job aggregator for this specific initiative. So we can also directly connect you to the companies. So that is the part of the program. So whenever the skilling is happening, after the skilling, automatically you will actually move to the placement support part, actually based on the company's requirement and your qualification. The matching profiles will be connected and we will actually facilitate the process.
Srikumar, one question on the fee structure. So can you answer that?
Yeah. The fee structure for this government program is actually coming under KKM. It comes around 25,000 rupees plus GST is the fee. But actually, government is giving a value addition to the disabled students means actually the people who actually performing outstanding on their entrance cum scholarship examination. Up to 100% scholarship they will get it. If that means actually the students can actually do the program without paying a single penny. That also possible to this KKM project. So the 100% scholarship is for the female candidate. The male candidate can get up to maximum 70% of the scholarship. So the scholarship is there for the specific program under KKM project. Only caveat is this scholarship is eligible for only the Kerala because it is the program offered and run by Government of Kerala. So Kerala is only eligible for this scholarship, that maximum scholarship, 100% and 70%. Non-Keralites can eligible to get maximum 25% scholarship. I hope detailed about scholarship already I briefed. There is an admission cum scholarship test will be administered for the people who would like to take the program. People who scoring actually more than 61% on their scholarship test, they will actually eligible for a scholarship. So the female candidate, if she scored actually more than 61%, she is eligible for a 100% scholarship. If the male candidate scored more than 61%, he is eligible for a 70% scholarship. As of now, we are not announced the new batch for software testing that we are actually waiting for the government's actually the scholarship intimation or other numbers. It may announce actually within a month time actually. So once the government approvals came, then government approval not actually each batch they will say actually when we need to start that based on the demand of the industry. As of now, the industry having a huge demand, so we are expecting to start the batch within a month time. So once it is finalized, you will get a notification from our team on the scholarship and admission test. So our initial process is starting from there. If there is no other doubts, we wind it up. Is any other doubts? Any other queries are not there unanswered? Scholar tips.
So there's a question on the. So I'll take that question, Srikumar. So scholarship test is actually an aptitude test. So it tests your aptitude and basic IT skills. So what do you know about the IT, basic IT stuff? So it's going to be a 1 hour test with 60 questions, and numerical aptitude, logical reasoning, verbal abilities, data interpretation. So these are the 4 different categories along with a few questions from computer fundamentals. This is how the entrance test is designed. We don't call it as entrance, it is a scholarship examination.
Yeah, placement will be all over India based on the company's requirements. They will place it. Actually, recently, a couple of actually our students are placed in a Dubai-based company because they're having openings over there. So it is purely depending on the openings actually, what it comes at the time of actually completing the programs and which other companies are actually joining the placement. Actually, that question is already addressed by people. It's a skill-based or certificate-based. Certificate is one of the endorsing thing that you having a skill. Otherwise, they need to actually having a special mechanism to testing your skills. But as if you having a skill, that there is no actually barrier for you. So nowadays you can see actually a lot of the global leaders are actually come up with the recruitment process. Even they are not bothered about actually your the graduation, people who are not completed the graduation, also if they're having a right skills, the company is willing to take it. So skill matters at the end. You need to prove actually you will add a value to the company. Then the companies are actually willing to take it up, whatever actually your demand is. So regarding the course registration, as I mentioned, we will once it is getting a note from the government, then we will send you a communication regarding that. So you will get a notification from our team within, at most we will start the program within a month time, as I mentioned. The case if you need to start the month time is the first notification you may get it within 10 days time. Because after actually the scholarship examination, then only the courses will start. So you will get a notification from our site within 10 days time. The program may start within a month.
So I take that question, Danny. It's since
Hello, Riji,
am I audible? Am I audible?
Yeah, now it's audible.
Yeah. So in the live session, we actually conduct some breakout room activities where you team up with some of your friends and then try to solve problems. So we want you to have a machine, whether it's a laptop or a desktop. So we encourage a machine as a mandatory thing in all our live sessions.
As it is already mentioned, it is industrial skills. So you need to do a lot of hands-on experience before actually you are placed in front of the companies. So system or laptop is mandatory for all our programs. Otherwise, it may be a namesake program. We couldn't able to actually endorse that. So we recommend that the participant should have a laptop or system to do the practice.
So I think Srikumar, we answered all the questions. It's time to wind up.
Yes.
So shall we move to the vote of thanks?
Yeah, I'm inviting our assistant manager, Mr. Nitish. He's also actually a project coordinator for the software testing programs in ICT Academy of Kerala. Yeah, Nitish.
Thank you, sir. So, good evening, all. On behalf of ICT Academy of Kerala and Kerala Knowledge Economic Mission, I'm very glad to be here to express my vote of thanks. A special thanks to our Chief Guest, Mr. Nipul Kocher, for accepting our invitation and for being here today. Sir, your thoughts and insights about the software testing course gave the participants the trends and opportunities about the testing course, elements, and industrial chances. And moreover, thank you very much, sir, for your patience answering the queries, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now, a special thanks to Mr. Regian Das, Head of Knowledge Operation Unit, ICT Academy of Kerala, for immense support to make the webinar a successful. I extend my gratitude to Mr. Srikumar, Head of Retail Operational Unit, ICT Academy of Kerala, to organize a webinar through online, even at the time of this pandemic. Now, not but the least, I must thank my organizing committee, Ms. Nitya, Ms. Aishwarya, Mrs. Ashwati, and Mr. Kripson, and the IT team, Mr. Nitin PS, for working hard for the past few days. They have working behind this webinar for the last few days. So I must thank. I'm very much gratitude to you guys to make the webinar a successful. Thank you, everyone, once again for making it a grand success. So let us all keep in touch again. So if you have any more queries regarding the course structure, you can mail to us. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.